Okay, so let's see. It is November 24th, and Max and I are going to be talking about who's the better Spider-Man. Peter
Me.
Parker, the OG, original, the original gangster Spider-Man, because he's the coolest, or Miles Morales, the new hotness. So, what do you think makes Miles so cool? Because I think you already think Miles is cooler than Peter, right?
Yeah, but when I said weaker before,
Well,
because
hold on,
like,
hold on. No. You said they were weaker. He was weaker because he had less experience, right? Because Peter has been in Spider-Man longer, so he's older, so he might
no,
be
that
stronger, right? That's not what you meant. I'm just trying to explain to people so if they listen to this, they're not confused.
he's weaker and younger, so it'll be so sometimes it'll be more common for him to lose.
Well, yes. Like in the game when he tells him, he said, "I've made mistakes too." Remember when Peter tells Miles that in the beginning? It's
Yeah.
because Peter had to learn too. It's like there's no book that tells them how to be a Spider-Man, right? It's like in the original game we were testing this last night, right? When Peter falls in the original Spider-Man PS4 game, he doesn't face plant. But when
Yeah, when
Miles
he's doing
does,
a
if you're
trick.
doing tricks, he'll face plant and like hit the ground and bounce off the ground, right? Because that's to
Yeah.
show the different amounts of experience. Because Miles doesn't have the experience like Peter does, right?
Right.
But you brought up the point that Miles actually has extra powers that Peter doesn't have, like the Venom powers, right? The Venom strikes and the Venom, which is not to be confused with Venom, the character and the black gooey guy. They have nothing in common. Venom strike from Miles Morales is what? What kind
What?
of power is it? What kind of power is it? It's a
Electricity.
yes. It's like bioelectricity. His body generates electricity.
I don't get how you can get electricity from turning around in the air.
Well, think about it like this, I guess. How do you shock yourself when you touch a piece of metal? Sometimes you build up static, right? You build up like scraping your socks along the floor, right? And then you go
Huh.
zap, and you're like, oh, geez, that doesn't come from the metal. That comes from you. The
Hmm.
the electricity is coming through your body and touching the metal. So maybe it's like a super way for him to conduct friction in the world. So like even the friction against the air, he can build it up in his body and then use it that way. And it would also explain why it runs out. He discharges it, and then he's got to do a bunch of moves again, and then and it discharges again, right? Every time he uses it. So you see, it makes sense. Maybe it's just like super static. That's actually there's a character named Static. That's a lightning guy, but he's in DC. Well, he's in one of DC's offshoots, but he's in DC. Okay, so what makes Miles cooler than Peter for you? Because I mean, Peter's got the line. Peter's got the line. With great power comes great responsibility. That's the OG Spider-Man line, right? That's why he is Spider-Man. So what's Miles's line? Does he have a line like that?
No.
No, but they both have similar kind of stories, right? Like for Peter, what makes Peter responsible and becoming Spider-Man and holding it to such a high level in his head of responsibility is his Uncle Ben dies, right?
And
And
then
then
Miles's dad
Miles' dad
dies.
dies. See, but with Peter, it was different because Peter was already Spider Man. Well, he had the spider powers at the time. And he chose to not stop somebody that was being bad. And that's how his uncle died. Miles, though, at least PS4 Miles, his dad dies because of the attack. I'm not sure if the comic book if it happens like that either. I haven't looked into that one. But actually, I know in the comic books, Miles Morales' universe completely gets destroyed. So there's that. I think he was part of the Ultimate Universe, and they brought him into the normal universe in the comic books. Okay, so what's the coolest thing you think Miles Morales can do in the PS4 game?
Well, slash PS5.
Well, yeah, but we're playing it on PS4, so that's why I say PS4. We ain't so hoity-toity PS5 owner yet. So what do you think is the coolest thing that he can do? Venom Strike? Invisibility?
Probably invisibility. Because I liked stealth in the other game.
Stealth is pretty cool, though, because in the game it's kind of like, you haven't really played them, but I think you've seen me play them, like the old Batman games. They're not old. The Batman Arkham games. You could get on top of like the gargoyles and then like take the guys. Have you seen that? So it's very similar to how that is.
Don't you remember what I was doing last night?
What?
I would take one out, then go away, and keep doing that.
Well, that's how you can do it, right? So what's your favorite Miles Morales suit so far?
Probably the tracksuit.
The tracksuit. It looks most sleek, right? It's all like white, and then it's got like little bits of red and black. Well, not little bits of black. It's got more black, but little bits of red. What's your favorite Spider-Man suit? Peter Parker Spider-Man. PS4 Spider-Man.
Probably.
Mine's always going to be the spider armor suit. The red and gold.
From the DLC.
Yeah.
There's two I would have to pick from.
Which two?
The advanced armored suit and the Black Cat suit.
That's the new one, the advanced armor suit. I know you like the Black Cat suit too. Black Cat suit's cool. It's weird though, he's got like claws on his hands. Which I thought was really weird. It's like Spider-Man doesn't attack like that. I don't know. Okay, how about this? Favorite Spider-Man Miles Morales game villain, so far. It could be Rhino, if you want it to be Rhino. It could be the purple dudes with the fists. So who is it?
My pick is not just one person.
Okay.
A whole lot of people. Roxxon.
The Roxxon. They're like the new version of
Silver Sable.
of the Sable or whatever. Sable Corp. Is Sable Corp?
I don't know.
Those guys were hard though. The original game, remember in the beginning, you first start fighting them? They kick your butt all the time. The Sables guys.
Yeah.
I was kicking their butts last night though. I went to check out those new suits.
Oh yeah, when you had the advanced armors, the armored advanced suit on.
I found it to be really easy actually. It was weird.
I know it's weird. It's like they get easier the more you play the game.
Okay, so let's see. So, if you had to rank both Spider-Mans on fighting abilities only, just fighting, no powers, who can fight better, you think?
Do like finishers count?
Finishers count. But kind of don't. No, we'll just do just fighting. No finishers, just fighting. Would you say Peter's better, Miles better, the same?
I just thought about something that kinda isn't true for the game, but that should be true for the game.
Who's the better fighter? I mean, their skill sets are pretty similar, right?
Yeah.
But who do you think? Who do you think hits harder and fights better? And
I think they're the same.
you think they're the same? Okay, okay. Who's got the cooler or better finishers?
Probably Miles because he uses the venom.
The Venom, Miles with the Venom. I kind of agree. Spider-Man. Peter doesn't have that flash of the Venom like Miles does, right? So he doesn't get the flashy finishers, but he has some cool finishers, so they still look really cool. Who has the better suits? Miles or Peter?
That's difficult
Why?
because I haven't seen all the suits for Miles Morales yet.
Okay, then right now, who has the better suits? Do you think? Just say it. Say it's Peter Parker, Spider-Man has better suits, because that's what you're gonna say, because you don't want to say it, huh? Because so far, Miles' suits, they're cool, but they're not like Peter Parker cool.
But
But there could be.
there's something really interesting about the Into the Spider-Verse suit.
What's that?
It changes Miles to look like the movie.
Well, yeah, it's like the animated suit from the original game, where it makes him smaller.
That's really weird to me.
Well, yeah, it is really weird, but okay. So, is there anything else you wanna say? You wanna talk about with Spider-Man? Anything that comes to mind? What? Yes, no, hiccup a toe.
No.
Okay, then I guess that's all we've got. So then, according to this conversation, Peter Parker's way cooler than Miles Morales.
What? No.